The massive alien fleet appeared at the edge of the solar system without warning. Earth's deep space monitoring stations detected the unusual energy signatures just beyond Pluto's orbit, giving humanity less than 2 weeks to prepare. Dr. Park stood in the control room of Earth Defense Headquarters, her face lit by the blue glow of holographic displays. Lines of concern etched her forehead as she studied the incoming data. The alien vessels moved in perfect formation, their energy readings unlike anything in human records. "How many ships are we looking at?" she asked. Colonel Kim looked up from his console. 327 capital ships confirmed, Doctor. Plus smaller support vessels. And their current speed? They'll reach Mars in 9 days. Earth in 12. Dr. Park took a deep breath. She had trained for this moment her entire career, but the reality of hostile first contact, still sent a chill down her spine. "Alert the Security Council," she ordered. "And get me the president." Within hours, leaders from every nation gathered in an emergency virtual summit. For once, old rivalries were set aside. Earth faced an existential threat that made human conflicts seem petty. The alien message, when finally decoded, was simple but chilling: "We are the galactic hegemony. Your world has been selected for integration. Resistance is unwise." Dr. Park addressed the assembled world leaders. "The aliens' technology appears far more advanced than ours. Conventional weapons may not be enough." The Chinese premier leaned forward. "What do you suggest, Doctor?" "We need time. Our scientists are analyzing the alien energy signatures. There may be weaknesses we can exploit." As the meeting continued, a young officer approached Dr. Park with a message. "Someone is here to see you. Says it's about the aliens. He has Alpha 9 clearance." Dr. Park excused herself and was led to a small conference room. A man in his 50s waited inside. His posture was military, but his eyes held the curious intensity of a scientist. "Dr. Park," he said, bowing slightly. "I'm Dr. Lee. I believe I can help. You have Alpha 9 clearance. That means you work for the Quantum Research Division." Dr. Lee nodded. "For 30 years now. What I'm about to tell you is classified beyond anything you've heard before." He placed a small device on the table that projected a three-dimensional model of one of the alien ships. "We've been detecting these ships for months," he said. "Not their physical presence, but their quantum signature." Dr. Park stared at him. "That's impossible. They just arrived. In conventional spacetime, yes. But their propulsion system creates ripples in quantum reality that propagate backward as well as forward." "You're talking about time distortion?" "I'm talking about causality manipulation. And it's the key to defeating them." Dr. Lee's eyes were steady. "Because we've been studying their technology, we've They entered a vast circular chamber dominated by a machine unlike anything Dr. Park had ever seen. It resembled a giant gyroscope with multiple rings of glowing blue material rotating in different directions. The air hummed with power. "What exactly am I looking at?" she asked. "The quantum causality array," Dr. Lee replied. "It can detect and manipulate quantum entanglements across time." A team of scientists worked at stations surrounding the device. One of them, a woman with intense focus, approached them. Dr. Jean, Lee introduced her. "Our lead quantum engineer." Dr. Jean nodded briefly. "The alien fleet has changed course. We have 72 hours at most." Military and political leaders from around the world arrived throughout the day for an emergency briefing. General Kong of the United Global Defense Force looked skeptical as Dr. Lee explained the technology. "You expect us to believe you can change the past," he scoffed. "Not exactly," Dr. Lee replied patiently. "We can't change our past. But we can affect theirs." He pointed to a display showing the alien ships. "Their propulsion systems create unique quantum signatures that exist partially outside normal time. We can send informational patterns backward through these signatures." Dr. Park tried to understand. "Like sending a message to their past?" More than messages. We can create subtle changes in their developmental path. Not enough to prevent their existence, but enough to introduce flaws in their technology. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. How do we know this will work? President Han asked. Dr. Jean stepped forward. We've already tested it on a small scale. 3 days ago, we targeted a minor support vessel. Yesterday, it vanished from their fleet. The leaders exchanged glances. This was beyond conventional warfare. What did you do to it? Dr. Park asked. We introduced a quantum instability in its fuel system design, Dr. Jean explained. Not enough to prevent its construction, but enough that it was decommissioned before joining this mission. As the military leaders debated the ethics and strategy, alarms blared throughout the facility. The main screen showed the alien fleet launching smaller vessels toward Earth. Scout ships, General Khan identified. They're sending an advance force. Colonel Kim's voice came through the communications channel. Dr. Park, the aliens are demanding to speak with Earth's leaders. They're broadcasting on all frequencies. Dr. Park looked at Dr. Lee. How long until your device is ready for full deployment? At least 48 hours to calibrate for the entire fleet. Then we need to buy time. She turned to the president. We should engage in diplomatic talks while the array is prepared. President Han nodded. Make the connection. The main screen flickered, revealing a humanoid figure with iridescent scales and multiple eyes arranged in a circular pattern. When it spoke, the translation system converted its sounds to human language. I am High Commander Mach of the Galactic Hegemony. Your world has been selected for integration into our empire. Surrender now and your population will be treated humanely. President Han stepped forward. This is President Han of the United Earth Alliance. We are a peaceful civilization but will defend ourselves if threatened. We propose diplomatic discussions before any hostile action is taken. The alien commander's eyes rotated slowly. Very well. We will send an envoy to your orbital station. Prepare to receive our diplomatic vessel in 6 hours. As the communication ended, Dr. Park turned to Dr. Lee. This gives us a chance. We'll keep them talking while you finish the array. Dr. Lee nodded, but his expression was troubled. There's something you should know. Each activation of the array creates quantum instabilities in our own timeline. There could be unforeseen consequences. What kind of consequences? Dr. Park asked. Disruptions in causality. Small changes becoming larger ones. The butterfly effect, but through time itself. Dr. Jean added quietly, in simple terms, we risk changing our own reality in ways we can't predict. Dr. Park looked at the display showing the alien fleet moving inexorably toward Earth. Billions of lives against the risk of changing reality itself. Proceed with the preparations, she ordered. And pray we're making the right choice. As the scientists returned to work, Dr. Park watched the enormous machine pulse with blue light. Humanity's fate now rested on technology barely understood even by its creators. The diplomatic talks with the hegemony had gone poorly. Their envoy made it clear that Earth had 2 options, surrender or be destroyed. The alien representative returned to the fleet with Earth's official response, a request for more time to prepare their people for integration. In reality, it was a delaying tactic. Dr. Park watched the main screen as the alien fleet positioned itself around Earth's moon. Her stomach tightened with dread. The hegemony had grown tired of waiting. They're powering weapons, Colonel Kim reported, his voice tense. The first attack came without warning. Beams of energy struck the lunar colonies, vaporizing structures and killing thousands instantly. Earth's orbital defense platforms responded, launching antimatter missiles and firing railguns at the alien vessels. Several hegemony ships exploded in brilliant flashes, but for each one destroyed, 3 more took its place. Earth's defenses were impressive but ultimately insufficient against such overwhelming force. Dr. Park received the casualty reports with a heavy heart. 12 million dead on the moon. The hegemony commander sent another message: this demonstration is complete. You have 6 hours to surrender or Earth will receive the same treatment. In the underwater facility, Dr. Lee and Dr. Jean worked frantically to complete the quantum causality array's calibration. We need more power, Dr. Jean said, her fingers flying across the control panel. The quantum signatures of their larger ships require more energy to target. Dr. Lee nodded. Divert power from the eastern grid. We're out of options. Across Asia, lights flickered and went out as power was redirected to the secret facility. The world held its breath, waiting for either salvation or destruction. General Kong entered the control room, his uniform dusty from the lunar defense operation. My forces can't hold them back much longer. Tell me you have good news. Dr. Lee straightened up from his console. The array is ready. We've identified the quantum signatures of 92% of their fleet. What about the other 8%? Dr. Park asked. We'll have to deal with them conventionally, Dr. Jean replied. But if this works, most of their fleet will never have existed in their current form. Dr. Park gave the order. Begin the operation. The entire facility hummed as the quantum causality array powered up. The massive rings began to spin, slowly at first, then faster until they became blurs of light. At the center, a point of intense brightness formed a quantum singularity that connected to points across time and space. Targeting their flagship first, Dr. Jean announced. Establishing quantum lock, now. The singularity pulsed, sending invisible waves of information backward through the quantum entanglements that connected the alien ships to their own past. On the main screen, the enormous hegemony flagship flickered. Parts of its structure became transparent, then solid again, as if struggling to maintain its existence. It's working, Dr. Lee whispered. We're altering the design decisions made during its construction. The hegemony responded with fury, concentrating their fire on Earth's defense satellites. One by one, the orbital platforms went dark. Their next target was obvious: they would attack the surface. Expand the target range, Dr. Park ordered. Hit as many ships as possible. Dr. Jean hesitated. That will increase the quantum instability in our timeline. The consequences will be less severe than extinction, Dr. Park finished. Do it. The array's power output doubled, then tripled. The singularity at its center expanded, sending more temporal ripples backward. Across the facility, equipment sparked and failed as the power drain intensified. On the main display, they watched as the impossible happened. Hegemony ships began to flicker and fade. Some disappeared entirely. Others transformed, their weapons systems vanishing or their hulls becoming riddled with structural flaws. The hegemony commander appeared on screen again, his multiple eyes wide with what could only be described as terror. What is this weapon? He demanded. Our ships are unmaking themselves. Dr. Park addressed him calmly. You came to conquer what you did not understand. This is humanity defending itself. This violates natural law. You're changing reality itself. We're changing your reality, Dr. Park corrected him. You should leave while you still can. All around the alien commander, alarms blared. Officers reported ships vanishing from formation or suddenly developing catastrophic failures. The mighty invasion force was dissolving not through destruction, but through erasure. In the control room, Dr. Lee monitored the quantum fluctuations with growing concern. The instabilities are spreading. We need to shut down soon or risk permanent damage to our timeline. Dr. Park watched as another wave of hegemony ships faded from existence. Those that remained were turning away from Earth, retreating in disarray. Humanity just changed the rules of warfare, she said quietly. Not with bigger weapons, but with deeper understanding. The array continued to pulse, sending ripples through time that the hegemony could neither comprehend nor counter. What remained of the hegemony fleet retreated in chaos. Of the original 300 ships, fewer than 60 still existed. The rest had not been destroyed, they had been erased, their histories altered so subtly that they had never joined the invasion force. In the underwater facility, Dr. Park and the others watched the aliens flee. Victory should have felt sweeter, but an uneasy silence filled the control room. Everyone understood that something profound and potentially dangerous had been unleashed. "We need to shut down the array," Dr. Lee said urgently. "The quantum instabilities are spreading faster than predicted." Dr. Jean pointed to a monitor showing cascading failures across the system. "The temporal ripples are reflecting back to us. We're starting to affect our own timeline." Dr. Park gave the order. "Shut it down. Now." The great rings of the quantum causality array began to slow, but the singularity at its center pulsed erratically. Alarms blared as reality itself seemed to waver around them. "It's not responding correctly," Dr. Jean said, her voice tight with worry. "The shutdown sequence is destabilizing." Dr. Lee moved quickly to a manual override panel. "I'll have to force a power cut. Everyone brace yourselves." He pulled down a heavy lever. The lights throughout the facility flickered and died. For a moment, darkness enveloped them completely. When emergency power came back online, the array stood silent, the singularity gone. But something had changed. "Is everyone all right?" Dr. Park asked, looking around the room. The scientists nodded, but General Khan was staring at his hands with a puzzled expression. "Something's different," he said slowly. "I remember 2 histories now." Others began reporting the same phenomenon. Memories of events that hadn't happened or perhaps had happened in a timeline that no longer existed. Dr. Lee checked the monitoring equipment. "The quantum ripples affected us more than we anticipated. We're experiencing temporal echo memories. Recollections from probability branches we altered." Dr. Park felt it too, a strange doubling of memory. She remembered the lunar colonies being destroyed, but also remembered them being saved. Both felt equally real. "Will this fade?" she asked. "I don't know," Dr. Lee admitted. "We're in uncharted territory." Reports came in from around the world. People everywhere were experiencing the same memory anomalies. Some claimed to remember the alien invasion ending differently, with negotiation instead of temporal warfare, or with conventional weapons rather than the array. President Han called an emergency meeting. "What exactly have we done?" she asked when they had assembled. Dr. Jean tried to explain. "When we altered the hegemony's timeline, we created ripples that affected our own. Think of it like throwing a stone in a pond, the waves eventually return to where the stone was thrown." "Are we in danger?" the president asked. "The effects appear to be stabilizing," Dr. Lee said. "But I'm more concerned about what happens next." He pointed to the long-range sensors. The remaining hegemony ships had regrouped at the edge of the solar system. "They're sending transmissions," Colonel Kim reported. "Millions of them, directed to different parts of the galaxy. They're warning others about us," Dr. Park realized. "About what we can do." 3 days later, the effects of their actions became clearer. The dual memories began to fade for most people, leaving only a lingering sense of déjà vu. But the world had changed in subtle ways. Technologies that had been theoretical suddenly worked. Historical events that everyone remembered slightly differently. Dr. Park met with Dr. Lee in his office, now filled with research papers that hadn't existed a week ago or perhaps had always existed in this new timeline. "How much did we change?" she asked. Dr. Lee gestured to a star chart showing new astronomical features. "More than we intended, but less than we feared. The universe is more resilient than we thought." "And the hegemony?" "Still there, but fundamentally changed. Our actions altered their development path. They're still powerful, but their technology took a different direction, less aggressive, more focused on communication." A message arrived from deep space monitoring. The hegemony fleet had departed, but new ships were approaching, smaller, with different energy signatures. "Not hegemony design," Colonel Kim confirmed. "And they're broadcasting a message: we come in peace, seeking those who broke the chains of time." Dr. Park looked at Dr. Lee. "It seems we've made new friends. And new enemies." That's the thing about changing history, Dr. Lee said quietly. You never know exactly what new future you're creating. Outside the facility, the world continued, changed in ways both subtle and profound by humanity's first step into temporal warfare. 3 months after the hegemony's retreat, Earth had changed. The memory echoes had faded, but their impact remained. Humanity united under the knowledge that they were not alone in the universe and that they possessed power other species both feared and respected. Dr. Park stood in the newly constructed Galactic Reception Center, watching as the alien delegation disembarked from their ship. These visitors were nothing like the hegemony. Their bodies were slender and graceful, with skin that shimmered like mother of pearl. Welcome to Earth, Dr. Park said as they approached. I am Dr. Park, Director of Interstellar Relations. The lead alien bowed in a gesture they had clearly studied from human culture. I am Tay, representative of the Free Worlds Coalition. We have traveled far to meet those who defeated the hegemony. Inside the reception hall, leaders from Earth's nations gathered to hear what the aliens had to say. President Han presided over the historic meeting. For 1,000 years, the hegemony has expanded across the galaxy, Tay explained. They believed themselves invincible. They conquered hundreds of worlds, including our homeworld. Images appeared on the wall behind Tay, beautiful planets reduced to mining operations, entire species forced into servitude. Then something changed, Tay continued. 3 months ago, the hegemony fleet sent to conquer your world returned in disarray. Their leaders spoke of a weapon that unmade their ships before they could attack. A weapon that changed time itself. The room fell silent. Earth's leaders had agreed to keep the nature of the quantum causality array secret, even from their own people. Tay seemed to sense their hesitation. We do not come to steal your technology. We come to propose an alliance. The hegemony is weakened but not defeated. They will return, with ships designed to resist your temporal weapon. Dr. Jean, seated beside Dr. Park, whispered, Is that even possible? Dr. Lee shook his head slightly. Not with their current understanding of quantum physics. But given time. President Han addressed the alien delegation. What exactly are you proposing? A mutual defense agreement. Knowledge exchange. Trade. And eventually, if all goes well, membership in a new galactic community, one based on cooperation rather than conquest. The negotiations continued for days. Earth learned about the wider galaxy, hundreds of inhabited worlds, dozens of spacefaring species, most living under hegemony rule. The Free Worlds Coalition represented those who had managed to break away or hide from hegemony detection. Throughout the talks, Dr. Park noticed that Dr. Lee seemed troubled. She found him late one night in the laboratory, reviewing data from the array. What's wrong? She asked. Dr. Lee pointed to his calculations. The temporal ripples haven't stopped. They're still propagating outward, affecting more distant parts of spacetime. Is Earth in danger? No, but the galaxy is changing in ways we can't predict. History itself is being rewritten, not just for the hegemony but for countless worlds. Dr. Park considered this. For better or worse? That's the question, isn't it? Dr. Lee sighed. We acted to save Earth, but we may have changed the destiny of 1,000 civilizations. The alliance with the Free Worlds was finalized a week later. Earth would share some technologies while keeping the secrets of temporal manipulation secure. In return, they would receive faster-than-light travel technology and access to the Coalition's knowledge base. On the final day, Tay requested a private meeting with Dr. Park. There is something I must ask, the alien said when they were alone. The changes you made to time, they continue to spread. On my world, people wake up with new memories, histories shift, ancient conflicts resolve themselves differently. Dr. Park tensed. I'm not authorized to discuss our defensive methods. I'm not asking how you did it, Tay said gently. I'm asking if you understand what it means. You've become something new in this galaxy, not just another species, but shapers of reality itself. Before Dr. Park could respond, alarms blared throughout the facility. They rushed to the command center where Colonel Kim was reporting an urgent development. Long-range sensors have detected a temporal anomaly at the edge of our solar system, he announced. It's similar to the signature of our array, but far more powerful. On the main screen, a swirling distortion appeared in space. From within it emerged a single ship unlike any they had seen before, sleek, almost organic in design. A transmission came through. People of Earth, I bring greetings from the Council of Temporal Guardians. Your recent actions have drawn our attention. Dr. Park exchanged glances with Dr. Lee. They had changed the galaxy more than they knew. It seems, Dr. Park said quietly, that we are not the only ones who have learned to manipulate time. Earth's journey into the galactic community was just beginning, and the path ahead would be unlike anything humanity had imagined.